West Ham might have got a share of the points, but they didn't, and Manchester United left the London Stadium with all 3 points. Quite an end to the game. Was it the right decision for Noble to go on and with his first touch of the ball, take and miss a kick? Obviously, he wasn't trying to miss it, he wanted to score, but he didn't. And the fact of the matter is, what does it tell you about the other 10 outfield West Ham players who were still on the pitch who could have done a job? Mike is a big West Ham fan. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, gents.
Good morning.
Gents.
Morning, Mike.
Gutted this morning, unfortunately.
Well, I'll bet. What was your take on it?
Well, I'm gutted on twofold, really. Firstly, I predicted the score, and I just knew Lingard was probably going to score, so that was the biggest disappointment. But as soon as he came on and got the ball, I think, to be fair, most West Hams probably thought he was going to miss, because how can you, at that level of football, without touching the ball, kicking the ball, getting a feel of the game, the pace of the game, be with that much responsibility against, a very, very good top-class goalkeeper? The script was written. I think the vast majority of us knew that was going to happen, and just can't believe Davey made that decision. I mean, Declan should have taken the penalty. He had the ball. He's been playing the whole game. I think a couple of others should have, put their head up and above the parapet and possibly.
Danny, you can feel Mike's pain, can't you?
Yeah, and I understand why. It was one of those games where you desperately want to get some out of it. But yeah, I think it was the difficulty with the other players taking responsibility is that they can't. There's only so much you can do on the pitch to then change the manager's mind or the coaches, whatever they're thinking on the sideline. Because as Noble starts getting his kit off, decisions kind of made to go over and start having a to-do with your manager. You got take some real bravery. That you're putting yourself right out there, and I don't know who was. Maybe none of them have got that level of responsibility at the club yet, because Noble is the senior player. So it's hard digging out other players. I would personally like to think I would have said something, but I understand why they didn't.
Okay, Timmy, a big United fan. Timmy, good morning to you.
Good morning, chaps.
Hey, how are you?
Morning.
Today. I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say, because when I first heard you guys talking about it, I did think about managers that have brought goalkeepers on in the last minute. So I think about Tuchel with Kepa, and then I remember in the 2014 World Cup, Louis van Gaal brought Tim Krul on.
Yeah.
And I thought, is there really that much of a difference? Because if Mark Noble did score, then David Moyes would have been labelled a genius, and it's kind of head or tail in a penalty situation. So I kind of see why David Moyes did it, but I just wanted to pass my thoughts on the other end in terms of the goalkeeper situation when managers have brought a goalkeeper on.
Okay,
I think the biggest difference with the goalkeeper is that if he doesn't make a save, then he's not made a mistake as such. He's not being judged the same way. The pressure's not as big on a goalkeeper, because the worst thing that happens is you don't make the save, and the pressure's much bigger on the penalty taker in that respect. So I think that's why it's different, personally.
Okay, Barney's telling us this morning this was a terrible decision by Moyes. Did he not watch the Euros? Noble couldn't even had a stretch before he came onto the field. Dave, a big United fan. I mean, Dave, you'll be happy, but what did you make of it? Good morning.
Hi, Jim. It's been a while since I rang him, but I think I've got to defend Moyes. I think we're in danger of doing what we do, and I know we have to on the show over sensationalising things. I mean, had he scored it, Moyes would have been a hero, and there'd have been no phoning about it. On the day that we're having a story that starts with about the great Jimmy Greaves dying, and then how fantastic Chelsea were, the thing that we've invited calls him for is the penalty miss. Now, had Bruno Fernandes been on the bench, I mentioned he's never on the bench, but had he been, and had we got a penalty, I would want Fernandes to come on and score, and I'd expect him to score. And the irony is, now Ronaldo's age, he's probably not going to take penalties anymore, but I'd have Fernandes taking them all the time, so I think he's just unlucky that he missed. I was pleased that he missed, but I think he's just unlucky. But I don't think Moyes has done anything wrong.
So you would have only doing the same thing, Dave?
Yeah, I would, and I know he'd get castigated even more, because that's what we do with Ollie. He gets it in the neck more than anybody.
Does Ollie get it in the neck more than anybody, Simon?
Well, he would say he does, because he's managing the biggest football club arguably in England and in Europe, so he gets extra focus. I don't think anyone's sensationalising. I'm always the first person to push back on hyperbole, but when you've got a penalty in the 94th minute of a huge game between two sides that have gone toe-to-toe for 90 minutes and everyone's watching it, and you bring a player on that's not in tune with the game, and 90% of the pros that have either played or commenting or talking about it now say that increases the opportunity for the goalkeeper to have an added advantage, increases the pressure. I don't think that's sensationalising. I think it's calling it for what it is, which is a bad decision. And if he'd have scored, yeah, but he didn't. So it's irrelevant that if he'd have scored, he didn't score.
Yeah.
He missed.
And it adds up to a bad decision, Dave. That's all we're saying.
Well, Jim, I mean, we all have opinions. And if Ollie does it and we miss, I feel the same as West Ham fans do today.
Yeah.
But that said,
Yeah.
I can see why he does it.
Sure.
And for me, I'd have brought him on, but you're quite correct about what you said about De Gea. He doesn't save penalties. So, anybody could have taken it, you would have thought. I never expected him to miss for a minute, but can I just raise one point about sensationalism? Oh, and I know I'm going off piece a little bit, but last week, we get beat in Europe. We get beat against a team with a fantastic fan base. The fans were fantastic, no one's mentioned that.
Yeah.
We get a guy sent off for a stupid tackle after 30 minutes, and we play 50 minutes or whatever it is with 10 men. And then we get beat with a back pass that is just crazy, it's unbelievable, but unlike anything Lingard's ever done before. The next day on the show, it's all about United and how bad they are, and how they don't win in Europe, and Ollie out. We come to this weekend, City are at home to Southampton. I know it's Premier League, I know Premier League's hard. They do a 0-0, they play with 11 men. We're all raving about how good City are. To me, that's a worse result for City than the United.
But what you just said is not true, Dave. Because I sat on the show directly after that and defended the decisions that were made and the challenges that were put in front of them. Aaron Wan-Bissaka being sent off and Jesse Lingard sending a back pass, and looking at the 7 games out of the 11 and the teams that Man United were beaten by in those 7 games were really actually teams that they could have been beaten and no one else would have been criticised for it. But irrespective of all that, Thomas Tuchel goes down to 10 men against Liverpool, who are a far better side than Young Boys, and gets a result. So you've got to call it for what it is. You want praise, you get praise. People talk about being the biggest club in the world. You can't then turn around and say, I only like hearing the praise, but not the fair and objective criticism. It was a bad result and they should have been able to manage it out.
That's fair, Dave, is it not?
Yes and no.
Okay.